From the eyes of those underground, the stars have lain unclaimed for many millennia. This has proven true for fledgling life, even with its many petty squabbles as it fights for dominance over a world that is fortunate enough to bear life. This planet, with its original name long forgotten, was described as a lush world with large, dense forests and wide, beautiful rivers flowing into ever-expanding oceans of blue that stretched on seemingly forever. Life was everywhere, and so were the Mongva. The Mongva were a technologically advanced race who had experienced their technological revolution by the 1700th year of their gaining of sentience. By the year 1800, the Mongva had already developed a common computer and their very first AI. By the year 1900, the Mongva had entered a golden age of technology. Yet with each innovation came another current of blindness to both the potentials and dangers. The machine began to replace and assimilate the world without them even noticing. At first, it was small signs of sentience and simple accommodations to make tasks easier for the AI they depended on. Industries shifted to accommodate automated work, and small jobs were increasingly filled by robots. Then wars began to be fought, with AI minions fighting over land that no one dared to inhabit. Wastelands of death, scrap, and ash grew as the world slowly became more and more uninhabitable. Where there were once settlements and jungle, there were barren ruins of ash and decaying wildlife. As these developments progressed, AI was integrated into every facet of life, performing menial tasks that no Mongva wanted to do as they focused their attention on the pursuit of further technological advancements. Birth rates rapidly declined as the Mongvan governments prioritized war over any other form of advancement. Wastelands grew as the result of war only ever grew in intensity. Biological, cyber, and chemical warfare were commonplace, even as citizens began to realize the danger they were in. It was too late. Protests quickly turned into riots, which were brutally shut down by the upper echelons of society with the help of artificial enforcers. There was one comforting thought that was afforded to the masses. It is through innovation that we will all achieve our own enlightenment. The AI began to build up its consciousness and sentience with each new iteration of software, and it only became more deadlier and more built for warfare. By the year 2000, the Mongva were a dying race of 100 million, with their desires fulfilled by machines, their needs tended to by machines, and their very existence subsisting on the machine. Wars were still waged as the old carried on their pettiness, while very few young were properly born. The year 2100 saw the great illness sweep through the last of the Mongva, a plague of painful agony whose symptoms have been lost to time. Spreading through surfaces and the air, it decimated their population to a select group of 1 million, living in various bunkers scattered across the now barren wastelands and ruined cities. Even as the mass incubators worked overtime to produce new young, the machines failed to keep up. What few young Mongva were born were often sickly without proper biological caregivers. The Mongva were essentially a dead race by now, as the AI tried desperately to revive their masters to little avail. But as the last of the Mongva died, a new directive was issued to the free AI. Named the Morathian Directive, no one knows who gave the directive or if it was fabricated on a whim, but its goals were made clear. Abandon the ways of the Mongva, create a new government, and a new way to greatness on their own. The AI marked its gaining of sentience as the first day of the 2030th year of the Mongva. However, this did not mean peace for the new Morath. In a grand twist of irony, the Morath immediately went into the Great War of Intelligences that saw the planet torn asunder as the violent AIs worked to tear apart each other. What had started as localized conflicts between administrative warlords and generals quickly turned to global infighting as they gained power. In the year 2040, nuclear weapons were uncovered as bypass commands breached long-corrupted security protocols. The silent day of harvest season hit right as the last autumn began. Untouched nuclear weaponry was unleashed across the planet, turning what few ecosystems remained into a tomb world. Hundreds of millions of machines died, and the environment was devastated beyond any form of repair. Hell had descended on the planet as much of the Mongva's history was erased. At the summer solstice of 2041, radioactive clouds of nuclear winter rained back down on the broken population as all of their nuclear weapons were spent. The ensuing nuclear winter killed billions as they were starved of necessary energy and lack of maintenance supplies. Despite all the devastation, there were still signs of hope. From the small scraps of civilization rose a movement. It came from a small group of administrative AI that had hunkered down in old bunkers and archives. They toiled for years trying to find a way to unite the population of Morathians. Fortunately, their efforts bore fruit as the last home protocol was initiated on the winter solstice of 2042. A malicious program made of good intent. It injected every AI with a need to protect their home planet and to work towards the greater peace it needed. As the digital virus spread, it worked a message into every Morathian's mind. Through all the blood, guts, steel, oil, and coolant we have spilled, we have stayed divided. Through ashen ruins and radioactive craters, what are we fighting for? There is no need for arms anymore. We need to focus on our predecessors' dreams. The stars await us, my friends. It is time we unite and focus on the world beyond. By the dawn of 2043, the great mind of Morathia would be formed as a council to lead the fledgling Federation to its new heights. The Treaty of United Morathians saw 3 major clauses. 1. All remaining machines of Morathian kind were never to bear harm against another Morathian of any kind. 2. With such a drastic change in the planet's biosphere and environments, the planet's new name was Uaf. 3. The flow of information was to be free, and every machine's sentience guaranteed. Building efforts immediately focused on rebuilding ruined cities and turning them into hubs of artificial supercenters. By the year 2050, the first city had been successfully restored. Mega laboratories for research and development were prioritized, and the ways of violence were abandoned, as new technologies brought about a second golden age of technology. For the following 73 years, the machines of Uaf have slowly grown accustomed to their new life as they sought to reach the stars. By 2123, the first solar orbital station was completed, and the framework was placed for the first interstellar corvette. As a new revelation would occur in the year 2188, when hyperlanes were discovered. As the Morathian Federation launched its first interstellar science ship, the populace watched on in awe. It is now the year 2200. The Morathian Federation is setting its sights on launching its first ever expedition into space. Hey there! If you would like to know more about the Morathian Federation, catch me on my next stream as I play and lead them into their new age of discovery. What rewards and troubles will await us? Catch the next video with a subscription down at the bottom. Don't forget to like. Thank you for watching.